I can't believe that you're gone now. But hey, at least you died as you lived. Distracted. Hey, and welcome back to 100% Minecraft, where I play through every single major version of Minecraft before updating. And yes, it has happened. I have finally died. It took me like 3 months? I mean, it's been quite some time, and there were so many close calls until now. And obviously I died to Creeper. Who would have thought? Rest in peace. Or I guess explosion? Yeah, close enough. Anyway, I was kinda making this perimeter a little bit safer, was running around and started laying out kind of an area that I wanted to keep safe by just adding like a too high wall around here and added like some ladders. And while doing that, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna watch some videos on the side. I didn't have my headphones on, and obviously because I was watching something, I had my audio down to 30%. I killed all the mobs around here, went over here, placed the first 2 blocks, heard some sizzling and died. Yeah. Kinda embarrassing, but yeah, this is kinda how this ended. In other news, the safe room really wasn't safe. I don't know what it is. It's probably just the way the AI of mobs behaves. They really like high spots for a lot of reasons. I wasn't actually aware that this part of the AI code was already in alpha and beta Minecraft. But yeah, they really like getting up here, which is also why I had to build this wall. And for some reason, creepers really liked hanging out in this room. And one time I didn't notice it in time, and it blew me up. Luckily, like, I could push it away, but it blew up like on my chest and part of the wall. It was really annoying, especially because I still cannot shift click. Imagine how long that took. But anyway, let's get on with the episode. There are a few projects I want to work on, and one of them has to do with like my project where I was looking for all the spawners. Because during that phase, I just went over here. This is like the east, I want to say. I headed over here and was obviously digging through all of the caves. And during many of those cave explorations, I actually found spawners. Or just had to dig up again, which is where I put like those pillars. There are actually a bunch of them around here, even near the base. And probably the most important one of those pillars is this one over here. This is the site of 2 really close calls. And just to explain how special this place is, I kinda have to go from the other side once I am down in the caves again. So you have to imagine, I was basically dead. I was like at half a heart, was digging up here, and then digging up here, making a staircase, and I hit another cave. And obviously I was so unhappy because I just wanted to leave the cave without dying again. Like, I have been avoiding death as best as I could. So I dug over here and got up. This is basically the staircase I just went down. But obviously I went here again another time. Let's see if I can still find my way around here. It should just be over here. And then I continued onward into this cave after I re-geared. And I already marked it with like a bunch of torches so I could never forget. There's a spawner here. This was a skeleton spawner that almost killed me afterwards again, because the gear I actually equipped wasn't best. I didn't actually empty the chest yet. I am really lazy when it comes to that. So anyway, I did clear this one out and lit up everything around here. And then I looked to the other side. Yeah, there's a second spawner. This, by the way, skeleton spawner. And if I go over here, this is also skeleton spawner. And they're actually really close nearby. By the way, this also just has like stuff in there. Like, I took so long finding that golden apple. I found like 100 spawners, it feels like. Anyway, the reason why I didn't really do anything with this is, first of all, I had like other projects I wanted to work on. And second of all, this version of Minecraft added coordinates. And I want to see how far away these 2 are without having to manually count. So this is at 293, 45, negative 704. And the other spawner is at, if I'm standing on there perfectly, 323, 51, and negative 698. These numbers are really important because Spawners only work if the player is within 16 blocks of them, which means if I can now check the distances between those two spawners and if they are at most 31 blocks from each other, then I can use both of them at the same time. And this would be so amazing. And now that I have the coordinates, this is actually really easy because I can just use the Pythagorean theorem. If you've ever seen that one, it's just like the whole triangle thing. But the funny thing about that one is that it also works in more dimensions. And you will not believe it, after putting all of this in a calculator, yeah, the distance is 31.2 blocks. Now I'm not sure if I can actually make both of them work, which means that we kind of have to experiment a little bit. And for that I just need to find the exact center position between like all of those coordinates. That shouldn't be too hard, I can just easily do that like on a piece of paper real quick. And then I'm gonna have to see if I can get both of them to spawn at the same time. Because if there's a spot where it works, it should just be a singular block where this actually functions. And putting all of that together, it should bring us to 308, which is around here, 308. Y equals 48, that's also here. And then 701. It's this direction. So exactly this spot over here should be the spot where, if this works, both of the spawners should be spawning at the same time. Might be one lower, because technically I was standing on top of those spawners. I'm gonna have to check with that. So that mainly just means that I need to encase this in a way where spawns are possible. Maybe, I actually have an idea. Because I obviously don't want to die, I can build a wall like this, because we have learned before... Oh wait, slabs are buggy, I have to start from the top. But we have learned before that these blocks don't actually let light through, which means that at the same time... I don't have cobble anymore, okay. But that means that at the same time I can still slap through there to break those torches and place some later on. And then ideally I should probably add like some way to actually look into that room. That would be kind of useful. Wow, I look away for 1 second, you're already starting to spawn stuff. Perfect. I mean, that's a good sign. Sadly, not the best right now. Okay. I kinda need to see most of the room, ideally. That should work out. I just need to be able to actually look at it. Okay. Okay, now I can see inside of that room from here. And now I just have to do it on the other side as well. Alright, that's the first spawn. I mean, that obviously worked out because I am literally next to you, but still. Made me jump a lot more than it should have. Okay, let's see. I should probably be smart about this and remove most of the torches already. So I can just concentrate on the ones over here. Okay, how do I do this best? The problem obviously is that I not only need to have the mobs spawn inside of here, but I also need to have them spawn once I'm standing on that platform. Which makes this a lot harder, because obviously they can spawn before that happens. Obviously, like, the easy way would just be go into difficulty settings and switch over to peaceful for just a moment and then go back. But, you know, it's like one of my rules that I've set that I'm not going to do that. The rule still is that I want to play on hard all the time, as long as it's possible at least. And I feel like I can probably get rid of the skeletons another way. I would just have to dig around, because like if I am right, like these spawners should actually only activate once I am really close. Also, I just noticed something. The particles are there now. Before they weren't there, right? Can I just check the particles? You should stop once I am far enough away, right? Like the cage currently doesn't have particles. It has particles if I'm over here though. Huh. Maybe it's easier than I thought, because last patch they didn't actually exist yet. Wait. I'm gonna stand here. No particles. No particles, and particles over there. None. Okay, I might actually be in the right position then. because I have particles over there and particles over there. That's actually really perfect. That makes this a lot easier. But just to test this, actually, I'm still going to do that again, like my original plan. Make this dark. Yeah, you're starting to shoot. Wow, you're really shooting. Issue is I can't actually see anything inside. That wasn't too smart. But yeah, the same should also happen over here. If I darken this one, you instantly spawn. The problem is I still can't really tell if there's like something spawning unless the entity number goes up. I mean, in the dark we can at least see that the particles are still there, right? Like we can see the fire from there. So I'm just gonna guess that this actually works and this is actually a viable farm. This is actually perfect because not only am I in need of arrows constantly, because obviously this is a boneless skeleton farm. We do not have bones yet, and this is obviously exactly what we can get here. Could you please kill each other? Thanks. Where was I? I also need a lot of cobblestone for my next project, so it's actually quite a good idea to work on a mob farm again. And again, skeleton farms are like some of the best farms, especially for once we are getting bone meal, because bone meal obviously is going to be a massive game changer once we have that in just a few patches. So let's go over the plan for this mob farm. It's going to look quite different to like the previous one with these spiders for obvious reasons, right? Like it's a completely different farm. I still want to get a lot of cobblestone, and this time around I would actually like to have a killing chamber around here. It's probably in the beginning I'm just gonna use a lava blade, but I want to just stand here AFK and then have like arrows rain on top of me. I want the skeletons to drop down, and once they fall down, I don't actually care about like if they are taking damage here for now. They might take a little bit damage because water is kind of funky in the old versions. Like in modern Minecraft, you only need like a sliver of a water blade to actually be protected from all fall damage. In this version, you still need 3 full blocks of water. Technically, before then the fall damage actually getting reduced. But just so you know, I don't really care about them taking damage for now because I don't get XP anyway. And I'm gonna have like an automated killing system, probably just like a lava blade that kills them and then the drops will fall on top of my head or something like that. But the important thing is that I need to get these skeletons quickly out of the, I guess, the spawn chamber. The important thing about that is spawners spawn in a 9x9 area, 9x9x3 I want to say. This is like where the foot is going to be spawning, either like the block below, the same level as the spawner or the one on top. And then obviously, like, since skeletons are like 2 blocks high, you obviously need like another layer of space for the head. But this is actually not the only important bounding box for a spawner, because there's another one that is actually a 9x9x9 area. So that means like on the, like the distance from the spawner in like the west, north, south, east direction is all the same, but it's a lot higher and lower. And in this distance, the spawner actually checks if there are like other mobs from the same type. That means basically, in this case, they are checking for skeletons. If there are skeletons already in the bounding box, then that means that it spawns fewer skeletons until it can't spawn anymore. There's actually a limit for that. Which is why I'm going to have them drop down until they're like low enough, and then I'm going to have some water streams, carry them away, and they're going to be carried over here-ish, like behind this wall, go up some water elevator, and then basically drop on top of me. And not quite, obviously, like I'm gonna stop them like exactly here, have like a lava blade next to it, and then all the arrows are just going to drop on top of me. But I guess that means that it's time for me to start digging. I should have probably brought the second diamond pick, because I feel like I'm going to use this one up completely. And I guess I was right, because this is already the second pick, and this is also almost completely used up. I did bring a third one though. Anyway, I feel like it's now time to actually do the interesting part of this build, right? Like I did dig both of those holes, and I feel like this is probably low enough. I have given the mobs like 7 blocks below the spawner to kind of just fall down. And now, sadly we kind of hit a cave here, but I want to replace this floor with slabs. Like the only reason for that is actually that I want this to look a little bit cleaner. And obviously, otherwise this doesn't really matter. I could have also just used like cobblestone, for example, but it's basically the same cost, right? I'm gonna have to return here at some point to prettify everything, but for now this is probably fine. Just put in like some walls and this should be good. So, since this spawner area is a 9x9 surface basically, that does mean that we can just use water buckets here and they should cover almost all but like the last layer over here. And then we just make the skeletons drop a little bit further and then we push them to where we actually want them to be. The interesting thing about like mob spawns and the likes is actually that I have learned a lot of facts about how mobs spawn over the years, and this has already started back in 2011 when I started properly playing survival Minecraft. But there are a lot of facts that I've actually learned that are either untrue or they used to be true and now I have like kind of this fuzzy memory of it. Like for example, back in the day, at least where I kind of like in the communities I hung out in, there was always the belief that mobs needed 3 high spaces to spawn. Obviously, like I can tell you, like in modern versions, all mob farms are too high. Mainly because it's like the minimum amount of space that you need, and also because you don't want endermen to spawn in most of your farms. But back in the day, like most of these spawning spaces were actually 3 high. Again, this is just like in the communities that I was in. Maybe this was already wrong back then, but I never actually experimented with that. This is going to be something I actually kind of wanna work out soon. But the same is kind of true for spawners, because I do remember, like really vaguely, people telling me that the spawn space is actually an 8x8. And the spawner was like still in the middle, but like obviously kind of offset of the true middle. Obviously having a 9x9 space isn't actually an issue, because like if it's larger then I guess I just dug more spaces. But since it's going to change at some point, I don't actually mind either way. I want to say I'm gonna go 2 down here. And then we can just drop all the skeletons down. I'm still going to use slabs everywhere, just because I feel like it looks a bit cleaner, and since water can just run over it, like basically float over it, it shouldn't actually matter. But obviously there's still like the 8 block limit, so this should be 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes. And then we can drop them 1 further, and then we're going further through the wall. I should actually write down where exactly I want the mobs to go up again. This is still part of like the cave next door. This is actually kind of annoying that I have so many caves around. Like on one hand it's nice because I didn't have to dig as much, but on the other hand there are actually a lot of mobs that I constantly hear, and I'm actually not sure if they are coming from the surface because we're actually not that deep down. But if I return here, like half the time I'm standing here I can actually hear mobs. So I feel like it could be from the surface, but it's actually... I thought I heard like a mob there, but there was actually a mob, but it was from above probably. It's actually really hard to figure out where mobs are. Like I have dug around here and we're actually like not that close to the surface, but apparently close enough, because now like the spider's quite loud, but it's really hard to figure out if something is above or below you. That is something I talked about before. That's quite a struggle. Like left or right, it's really easy, but like up and down, yeah, I just cannot figure it out. So now we should probably talk about like this mechanism over here. I would want to stand over here just because this is obviously the space where both of the spawners are active. By the way, they are encased in dirt just so I don't have to dig it up with a pickaxe. I'm really scared about breaking those spawners. That would be like such an annoying occurrence if it actually happened. I'm actually not sure how hard spawners are to break in this version. I do know that in the future at some point it gets like really easy. But since the hardness of blocks has actually changed, of like many blocks at least over the years, especially something like brick for example, I would actually have to test that one out on like a spawner that I don't care about. Anyway, let's talk about like this process again. I would like the skeletons to kind of end up here. They're supposed to stand there. Ideally this is like the last block, so let's get some space here. I'm going to replace that with like a double slab. This is where they are supposed to stand at the end, which means that we have a lava blade here, and the water stream is going to continue onwards and end on this block. Or like technically we could also have it end on this block and just have like a sign or something hanging off this one, so the items can just drop on top of me. But it does mean that all the mobs have to kind of end up here via a water elevator. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to connect that. It's probably easiest if I connect both of the streams, because obviously the other farm is also going to have one. connect both of these streams underground. Just because they're also on like different heights, it's going to make this a lot easier. And then they're going to get moved over here, and then the skeletons are just going to plop up here. I would say probably around... No, wait, if I stand here, it would be actually kind of nice to just look over here and maybe have the water stream over here. Right, so I can look to like the spawners if I want to watch those, or I can just look in front of me and have like the skeletons just slowly swim up here. I feel like this is a decent hole. That also means, give me the coordinates, 308, -704. I can't even, wait, can I take a screenshot, or is that because I'm holding? Huh? Why is the screenshot key not working? That is so weird. I tried this earlier. You can only make screenshots while you're in F1 mode. Interesting. Huh. Also, now you know when I'm playing. It's basically midnight. I guess I'm just going to write that down. And then I'm going to dig a rough tunnel. Obviously, every 8 blocks we have to go down one. Wait, 308. That's still a few more. That would be around here. And then over here. This -4. Okay, we definitely have to move around a little bit. Okay, we have the connection. We are going to have to move around a bit because otherwise there's going to be quite an issue getting like all of the skeletons into this small spot here. But obviously I should probably do the same thing on the other side first. And we're almost there. This should be 308, and then over here. Wait, I'm lower down, right? -7. Wait. Oh, wait. I'm stupid. I'm coming from the other side, obviously. 704 is where the connection is. So this should be... Yep. This is it. Okay, we are definitely far lower than I thought. And we're actually in the exact middle between those two. So making an elevator here is actually not the easiest, I would say. How am I gonna do that? Am I going to connect both of them to the same elevator, or am I going to combine both the streams first? The whole water elevator mechanic is a bit wonky. I would prefer to combine both of them first, so I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna say, let's take the other one, like the higher one, and move the current around so they're dropping over here. Right, they should drop on the other stream, and then both of them can be combined and go into this pillar over here. That's actually almost perfect. Okay. So, we want the water stream. We want some water here. Since we have like slabs, it's actually quite easy to do that. Which means that we're getting a sign over here. This is going to be a sign that's going to block the water. That means if I put water here, actually have some water buckets on me, should push these skeletons over here. And as long as they're part of the stream, they should just try to swim up. And then we have like some water here and some water here, and they will be able to just swim straight up. That should work out just fine. And also, look at how strong the water current currently is. Like, the strength of water actually changed like a dozen or so times during Minecraft's development. And this is definitely one of the stronger ones. It's like really a struggle to get out of one of those streams. Now to divert this stream over here. We ended up over here, and this is obviously the hole. So let's say we just turn around over here. Since they're dropping down here anyway, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. My diamond pick broke. Ah, great. I should have counted how far over I went here, but I feel like if I go like 8 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is the 8th one, and then one down and to the left, then that should be fine. Yep, basically how I wanted it. So we go down one, turn around here, and then we have like this little corner, and this allows the skeletons to drop into the other stream. I just need like a sign over here to stop the water in just a moment, because this is actually a bit too short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Should still be fine though. Now to encase all of this, just so I don't get any unsuspecting visitors here. And I'm not sure, should I should probably start on the other side with the water. This is otherwise going to be really annoying. And maybe I should prepare some signs while I'm at it. I did bring some, but this is definitely not enough. I am so looking forward to stackable signs and doors and all that stuff. It's going to be glorious. Anyway, I do need an infinite water source here. Shouldn't be too hard to make, obviously. And with all of that, that should be fine. So let's get rid of the ladder and put a sign here. Technically, we could also do it with ladders, but I feel like signs is probably a bit cleaner. So why am I using signs? Mainly because mobs don't really like to swim up. It's a lot easier if they're already on top of the surface. So if you block, like you use a sign every second block, they also get a chance to breathe, basically, and they don't drown while climbing up here. Makes it a lot easier. I don't actually think it's technically required. You could probably also just create like a full water column by placing full water sources everywhere. But obviously this is a lot easier to do than that. At least I would say it is. Like, now that I think about it, like the main reason why I went for this design is just because I used to do that in the past. So maybe I should experiment with that sometime in the future. Maybe around the spaces where we have the window, I might actually fill all of that with water. I don't know yet. I might have to experiment. Anyway, let's place some signs into the right spots. Just here, hold some water, and then we can continue like this. This is going to be fun. Let's call it fun, yeah. Okay, at least we have the elevator up till here. This is probably where I, like, if I do the whole thing with like the full column, I would probably continue over here. And then we obviously need to move the mobs over here. There's still space for a lava blade here. I just have to do it properly. I hope this is just a zombie from like the surface again. Okay, so the skeletons are supposed to end up here. So we are going to place a lava blade here. Is this actually the ideal way to do that? I do kind of remember the design. It's just been some time, so I kind of had to remember properly. I would say like normally the mobs used to kind of run into the lava blade and then fall down. The issue, obviously, if I put it like this, is that the skeletons could still shoot downwards. Even if they're like in the lava, even if they're dying, I could die if I do that like this. So maybe I do it like the proper original design. Like normally, okay, let me do it like on the side here. So my idea was basically you had me standing on this block, basically, right? I'm gonna show it like from the side. And then the skeletons would die here, like mid-air basically, and the drops would just fall on top of me. Obviously, skeletons could just shoot down. It used to be the case that people built it like this. You had like the lava blade here, so the mobs would like kind of swim through the water and like get pushed into the lava blade. Like imagine this is like still the floor. You have like the water here, and then they would end up over here. And you would have like a sign, or maybe it was a ladder against it. So imagine, right, like I'm a mob, I move this way, and I get pushed into the lava blade, and I would still swim. And then I would die, and below me would be a second water stream that also was like semi-encased, so mobs couldn't just go to the left or right, and would constantly swim up if they had the chance and touch the lava blade again. And then the mobs would just, or like the drops would just go into the second water stream and then get pushed to the side. And I feel like I will have to do that here as well, because otherwise I'm just gonna get shot. So the killing mechanism probably should end up on the side here. That's going to make this a lot safer. Won't make it possible for me to really watch the mobs, which is kind of sad, but like if I really want that, I can probably redesign this slightly. Like I could have a killing room to my side. Probably this direction actually, and then I could watch them, and I would just have to move the water elevator a little bit to the side. Would that be cooler actually? Now that I think about it, maybe I should do that actually now, because obviously I'm standing here, and then I could have a water stream like to the side that just brings all the mob drops exactly to me. Let me map that out. Since water streams are still 8 blocks long, would be, and I kind of want them to flow like at a diagonal. It would still be 3 blocks here. Just give me a minute. Mobs would flow like this, like the drops would end up in this specific corner. I could also just stand here basically, right? Like the water would just give me a second. Like the water would start over there, and if I stand on this specific block, then I should still be able to pick up all the drops like through the corner. Yep, that's actually perfect. I would obviously remove those two, like the mob drops should actually just touch me instead of being blocked by these blocks over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is where the supporting water stream, I'm gonna call it, is going to start. Just like that, and I can remove those two blocks, and you can still stand over here. And like all the blocks, or like all the mob drops are going to slowly get pushed over to me. That's actually kind of neat. Can I still keep the elevator in this position though? Maybe? I mean, now the thing is, I need a lava blade here. And I'm not 100% sure about its design currently. Like, I do know how a lava blade works, obviously, but I don't know how I want to make this work. Maybe just like this. Like, my idea is, like, basically we have, like, the lava blade here. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, basically. And it would end over here, and then we would have, like, a glass front over here instead of the cobblestone. And that would mean that we have, like, a 3 wide tunnel, basically. And I broke the water block, obviously. We had, like, a 3 wide tunnel here that the skeletons come through, which isn't too bad actually. That just means that the elevator over here is going to get moved back like 2 or 3 blocks. And we could also just have them come up here and then get pushed into this room, and they're going to be signs on this side, or like ladders maybe. Imagine I had more ladders, right? There would be like 3 ladders here, and some signs that block the lava from flowing in this direction, like this basically. Like imagine this is where the lava source would be, right? It would flow over here like this blade, and the mobs would run into it, get held on this level so they don't swim up, because otherwise if they swim up too far, then all the mob drops are going to get burned. So it's a lot easier to just keep them on this level, which means we can see them coming up here through like a glass window. And then the water would just push them out, and then they would spread around here, end up in the lava blade that's coming from this side, which also means, because the lava blade is a lot lower on this side, that the skeletons are going to be more visible to us. Just like that, they're going to die, and the drops are going to end up down here. Alright, that doesn't actually sound too bad now that I think about it. I just don't have glass on me, so for now, you know, proof of concept, I'm just going to use dirt wherever I assume glass to be. That could work out actually. I just don't have lava on me, but I should be able to find some in the cave nearby. I hope this works, because technically, just to check, this technically should work. Yeah, okay, it works. The only issue is obviously because the pathway over there is not blocked yet, that the water's flowing in a weird way. Okay, now this should work. If I place the water bucket here, this should just spread around, exactly. And let's pretend this is a lava blade. Obviously, it's currently water. If I place some water here, there's going to be like this connection, but obviously the water and the lava is not going to interact like that. All the mobs are going to get pushed in here. They're going to die to the lava, and all of the drops are going down here. And if I place like some glass here, then we can actually watch all of that. Now I just need to fill all the water in. Why can't I? Wait, aren't you forming full source blocks here because you're on top of slabs? That's interesting. Okay, I guess I need like a better infinite water source. Now to put in the stopper, this is where both of the water streams connect. Right, and should just end here, and they should just fall into the first stream, or I guess the lower stream at least. I'm a bit worried about like removing all of the torches right now, just in case something spawns. But it should be fine. And once I have filled everything here and removed the ladders, then we should be able to start the spawning. Just to test it, we probably need better walls than what I currently have here though. And we even have a lava lake just near the farm. Just had to follow like 2 tunnels. I'm gonna bring like a little bit more lava just in case I need it. You never know. Now to put the lava blade in. It's going to be fun in just a moment. I need the water down here. This should exactly end up over there. That's perfect. And now if I put the lava in, then we should also have like a little bit of light, which is nice. And I can just close this off. Right, like obviously the lava blade is exactly 4 long, which is why I did it like this. Obviously I'm gonna replace a lot of this with glass in the near future. But we are basically at the point where we can try this. It's going to be dangerous though, so let me get some food on my hotbar at least, just in case I need it. I do have some dirt, perfect. Let's see if I can do this without dying. I need to get all the torches. I should have thought about how to remove those a little bit earlier. The skeleton shouldn't be able to spawn on here, which is why I'm feeling kinda safe. Okay, and now if I remove those over there... Oh, there was a skeleton. Perfect, we can at least watch this skeleton over here. Yeah, you're definitely fighting the water, but mainly because you can see me. I don't think you should be doing that if you can't. I'm gonna leave it like that, we don't need that many skeletons for now. I just want to make sure that the water streams are working. And if I'm standing here, let's just listen a little bit. Oh, there was another skeleton. There's another one of those moments where it would be nice to have like mods, like free cam or something like that, just to check. But obviously I don't have them and won't for a long time. Ah, something's burning. And you died? You didn't drop anything. That doesn't mean a lot though, because skeletons don't always drop stuff. And we have an arrow. Perfect. Now if I stand here, then you should just slowly, very slowly make your way to me, right? Perfect. Okay, so this means this is technically AFKable. Okay, you just spawned, that's perfect. That means I can quickly remove the other blocks. Maybe even the other torches. Just like that. Obviously this isn't perfect dark right now. I have some ideas how I want to do that. I could always just use the slab trick again. But I feel like for now it's okay. This is going to kind of cut into the raids, but we have like a double spawn. It shouldn't be too bad. And something just came up. Perfect. And you're burning again. I don't know if... It always sounds like a lot of stuff is burning. Maybe... Just maybe I'm doing this wrong. I do remember this design more or less. And I thought this is how it was made. Maybe it was actually science over here, because the ladders might make the skeletons climb up. Just maybe? I'm not 100% sure though. In any case, I would like to also do the same over here without dying, preferably. Okay, that was one spawn, that's neat. Just need to reach the last torch over there. Can almost reach it from here. Gotcha. And it's dark. Perfect. Thanks, Cave Noise. I didn't figure that out myself. And we're still getting arrows. Nice. And if I'm standing here, we should be able to see skeletons. Like we've seen skeletons spawn over there. Now we just have to make sure that they also spawn over there. Yeah, that was just the animation. They definitely spawn here. That is perfect. This actually worked out. Okay. Now I just need to prettify all of this a little bit. And we have infinite arrows now. Because arrows were actually quite a problem, because I like using the bow all the time. It's a lot more efficient than using a lot of other tools and a lot safer actually. But I was constantly running out of arrows. So I've been AFKing while editing the previous clip, basically digging all the tunnels and the elevator and that stuff. And during that time, which probably was like 15 minutes or so, I actually got around, how many? 5 stacks of arrows? It's definitely not the fastest farm. There are definitely better ones, especially in more modern times, but I am quite happy with it for now. This just basically means every few episodes I'm going to stand here for like 20 minutes while editing, and I'm gonna get like more than enough arrows for what I need. Now I'm kind of scared if my AFK spot has been found. I'm also really worried. I feel like I've had so many close calls in this playthrough, so I'm really worried about everything. But yeah, there's basically a constant stream of skeletons constantly. Like every few seconds I can hear one burning up. It's just that the drop rate of skeletons is actually quite terrible. Like if I find them during daytime, like if they're burning up, I generally see like every second or third skeleton at best drop an arrow or two. So like once we get bones as well, it's probably going to look a lot, and I mean a lot better. In any case, I do have a lot of blocks now for the next project, and I also have a lot of arrows apparently. I even had to bring over like a whole chest of cobblestone already earlier during this project, and I'm quite happy about that. That means next time we can finally work on some other cool projects that I've been waiting to work on for like 1 or 2 months at least at this point. But since this episode is running long already, I'm going to leave prettifying all of this to future me, and I am going to work on that between episodes. Next time is going to be more work on the actual base. Looking forward to that. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be seeing you next time. Till then, have a good one, and bye bye.